Once again, we have Charles BlasterPro Craig.
Hello, everybody.
And your favorite idiot, Disco.
Filling in for Matt, obviously. Matt is still on assignment.
Matt is dead.
This is how this starts on social media. You know, soon there'll be a Facebook post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna do a whole Beatles thing.
All right. So I am blaming Windows this time. We did an update. But that's all fixed. We believe our technical genius of a director got us up and running perfectly fine. He was pulling cables and blowing them out, turning things on and off, unplugging, turning it on, resetting, rebooting, all the fun stuff to get us live.
I assumed that we were going to check this over the course of the week, but I was told...
No, you're absolutely wrong. We don't do that. That is... not how we operate. We operate everything at the last minute. It's kind of like doing your taxes and trying to get them uploaded exactly before midnight. Which I had a small meltdown this week trying to do my taxes.
And you were listening to all the most angry music ever.
I was listening to angry music.
To War of the Planets.
Yeah.
You're on Mars at that point. That's the angriest one.
So basically what I ended up doing was angrily filing an extension. Because I really wanted to get it done, and I did wait to the last minute. And
How are you supposed to do it next time?
Well, I don't know. I think I'm going to burn down. Well, I can't. Actually, everything's in the cloud, so I got to figure out how to start all over, and I can't figure it out because I need to go back because somewhere along the line I pushed something wrong, and now I am the owner of the company that manufactures my invention. And I sat there going through. I've never been asked all these questions before. You know, I've asked about employees, 1099s, full-time, part-time employees.
Did you just say you use slave labor? Because that's what we are.
I did try to put in upturned dumpster and child labor, and none of those were choices I could put in. Most of the things I put said did not apply. And then when it was all said and done, it shows up in my thing as something that's kind of mine. It used to be just a symbol, 1099. You just put it in, royalties. It just adds X amount of money to how much money I've earned, and then they extrapolate whether I get a return or owe taxes. That's it. It's very simple. I could actually do it in person with an actual EZ form. It's there. The slot is there.
Just write taxation and stuff on it and send it back.
Right. Anyway, I'm not talking about it anymore.
Taxation.
If you haven't gathered, IRS is a trigger word for me.
Yeah, it's a trigger word for a lot of people.
Look, I went from getting back $2,000 to owing $1,000.
So anyway, let me see who we got on. Remember, you know, it's part
Hey,
of
Straka.
it's part of Matt's job to keep tax.
Taxation is bad.
It is. And we can start a movement to, well, no, we're not. But technically, income tax is unconstitutional, and there are ways to get out of paying them. But if you don't do it right, you go to prison.
Like Timothy McVeigh.
Yeah. I worked for a company in the late 90s that as soon as you got hired, you went in and you watched a 4-hour-long video about how unconstitutional income tax is. And then all employees there did not have income tax taken out of their paychecks. And they had all the legal forms and everything. This guy that ran this place was basically paid the lawyers, did everything you need to do not to pay income tax, and he did it for himself and all his employees. There's a form you fill out and send it in just like your income tax return.
This sounds like going to jail, but okay.
Yeah. So
I like it.
the IRS is pointless. I believe the IRS is also pointless. I think there should just be a flat tax and just go on. If they do want income tax, then it should just be a flat income tax and just go. You know, certain people have to pay like 47, 48, 49% income tax. Isn't that crazy?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, 48% of $1 billion is what?
I don't care. It's I would be so pissed if I had to pay that.
Well, my statement is this: you get to a point where you don't need the money.
You always need the money. Always. But anyway, no Matthew. Matthew will be back next week. In case anyone who's forgotten, here's what our lovely missing person looks like.
He will be missed.
Matt will be back next week. Matt will be here with me doing the contest next week. This is, by the way, is Hayden's favorite picture of Matt.
It's one of them.
My personal favorite picture is I am no longer allowed to show because
Speeder bike?
the speeder bike, yes, the chalk drawing speeder bike. So anyway, Matt will be back next week for the contest. We'll be giving away another Mando holdout. Well, I really taped that. Well,
Hold on.
Hold on. There we go.
I was gonna rip the paint off.
I know.
Wait, it's not painted.
No. This one's a total blank. And the reason why it's a blank is because the winner will have a choice of paint jobs. So if the winner wanted, they could get it blank, just like this, unpainted. Or the winner could get it painted like in The Mandalorian, just like that. Or a custom color in the same style as what was just up there.
Hello Kitty is an option.
Oh, don't make him do that.
It would be
yeah.
it would be pink.
Do you have pink?
I would find pink. If somebody wanted Hello Kitty colors, I would do the body battle scarred,
Pink and white.
chipped pink with the bottom cap white. But anyway, say you had a Mando kit and you wanted a blaster to match your Mando kit, or maybe you think it would look better in a blue or something. Actually, I think blue would look pretty cool because I believe Din Djarin's knife has a lot of chipped off, has a lot of remnants of blue paint on it. But regardless,
Let's not talk about knives today.
yeah, somebody lost or filleted his finger. Well, just the tip, right?
I cut the tip off.
He was playing just the tip by himself. He did cut it off.
I did cut it off.
So anyway,
You want to borrow my knife?
No.
this month's prize, trivia prize, is going to be another Mandalorian holdout blaster, which I still love these. These things are so much fun. Also, it will be up to you on the paint job it gets. So I thought that'd be a cool way of customizing it for someone. So there it is. That's what we're going to be doing. The game we'll be playing is everybody's favorite, second favorite train wreck, Family Feud. That would be, if you've played Family Feud before, you know what it is. It's 10 questions, 100 people surveyed type thing. So we just run the clock for about 45 seconds, and then everyone who gets a correct answer, we go in and see who got the points for the answers. A lot of fun, a lot of counting. That's why we're doing it for Matt to come back. He has to actually exercise his brain when he gets back. Since we're getting, well, you know what? Quick thing. The Etsy store is up and running with limited. BlasterProShop.com is also up and running. That is an email order through email. It'll all be conducted through PayPal in the end, but You're cold too?
No, the microphone keeps cutting in and off. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, which microphone?
All the microphones. It's like microphone.
Have you tried jiggling the cable?
No, everything looks good right now. We'll just keep running with that. Actually, wait a minute. Quiet. Okay. It looked like it was spiking kind of crazy, but it looks okay right now.
I blame Windows.
All right. Lost audio. All mics.
Well, mics are hooked up to one.
Yeah. Hold on a sec. Switch over to. Okay, we're showing on the outstream. Sometimes, if you we've noticed this in the past. If you refresh your screen, it might fix some. Huh?
I know for a fact it's on our.
Oh, all right.
Is it the goofy thing that I put back together?
Sounds good now. It could be. We need to upgrade that.
We need to
All right.
permanently fix it.
Tonight we're finishing up our discussion, our month-long discussion on the masters, my masters for casting. The first week we covered all the real-world items like the MG34 Sterling submachine guns, scopes and stuff that I've gone out and found that were original parts. Last week was higher end replicas, some of the good replicas that I've purchased for using as masters, and also casts of real items that I've used. Instead of actually finding the real item, I've been able to find a cast, and with the owner of the mold permission was able to cast and use those parts. Tonight, we're going to be talking about stuff I have made from scratch or cobbled together from other molds that I had. For instance, a scratch-made piece is this scope mount, which is the Return of the Jedi Han Solo DL-44 scope mount. This is pretty much all Sentra. It's got washers for the spacers to space it off the body of the gun, but this is a completely 100% made part. Almost. Another fun thing, since this month's giveaway, the Mandalorian Blaster is pretty much a scratch built part for me. I scratch built about 80% of that, and a few pieces are 3D printed, but almost all of it is like the main body frame and all that, the barrel. That's all scratch built.
Now, how many times did you have to build that?
I built it twice. Smuggler's Room just built. But that's what we do all the time, is build Mando armor out of Sentra down here. That's why Matt is actually here.
Yeah, Matt is very good at forming cod pieces. That's what he
Matt,
loves.
actually, if you came here, wanted to put together a Mando, you would actually be put in the hands of Matt.
Wait, where do you find Sentra?
Matt, we use Queen City. Was it Queen City Polymers?
Yeah, Queen City Polymers. Yeah. You can also order it on Amazon, which is where I started before I started listening to these guys. I would order crap and they'd say, "Hey, can I use this?" And it'd say no.
So that's where you find Sentra. You can find it online. Somebody else was getting it from another place, and I can't remember. But in the Cincinnati area, Queen City Polymers is just a giant warehouse, and they specialize in plastics. So you can get anything from Sentra, ABS, all kinds of plexiglass, polycarbonate. You can get rods, you can get sheets, you can get blocks, squares, anything that's available in the world. They can order it for you, or they might have something in stock. And sometimes they will actually, and in my own experience, since I was going up there a lot back in the day, and this also happened to Matt once, they actually gave him, it's like, "Oh, we got this piece here. It's all scuffed up, and it doesn't work for the owner, and instead of just having a bunch of stuff they can't sell or give sell or move on for contracts or whatever, they gave it to us. We tell them what we're doing, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well here you need this," and we're like, "Yeah, we'll take it." So we've gotten lots of free plastic from them, and I'm not like talking about like whatever, like 4x8 sheets.
Well, mostly I think that's due to Matt's ability to do the truffle shuffle.
Oh, yeah, well,
Yeah.
We don't have any visual aids at the moment.
yeah. So anyway, so when I go to create, always the first thing I ever do is find, just like this right here, I find reference photos, screen captures, and all that kind of fun stuff. Like this right here is a picture of the Liberty pistol that I used, one of the pictures I used to make this guy.
Credit.
But anyway, since that was like, for instance, the Mandalorian holdout blaster was made off of a real life item, a modified version of a real life item, I went and found pictures of an original real item and made that first, and then kind of modified it the same way to get what we're at. And there's like 2 or 3 versions of this, depending on the time periods of when they were stamped. There's different stamping techniques, and who did it, depending on who made them, they were a little bit different. But anyway, I learned that. I never knew there was a difference in the stampings and the way they were made, but a couple differences.
Looks like it was made in a headlight factory.
It was made, the bulk of them were made by, obviously you know this, the General Motors headlight division. But anyway, moving on. This right here is a cobbled together scope. This scope is a scope made from a Han Solo, the eyepiece of the Han Solo A&H Hero. And then it's like a bottle cap, it's a cap, an old scope, and some greeblies, basically to make the Return of the Jedi scope for the Han Solo blaster and the E11. That's what this is. And this is actually a very good, this one's really close to it. And it's just made by cobbling parts together, which is exactly the same way they made the scope for the movies. And then others are like the heat sinks for the Mir-Sun Power 5. This is, I had a casting of the heat sink on the front of strangely enough, the A&H Hero Han Solo. That's the same pieces that were used to make the heat sinks for the Mir-Sun Power 5. So I made the casts that I was making for the blaster kit itself. I took 2 casts and reshaped them the way they need to be shaped and put them together to make this piece. And then I actually filled this with body filler and putting down like a piece of tape to protect it from sticking to the gun. I actually pressed it on the place where it sticks to the gun. So these actually, when the molds are fresh and clean, it'll actually snap onto the Mauser.
Ooh, press fit.
Yeah, it literally will snap and fit on. Then next up, we get to do creating stuff on the metal lathe, which is, this is the DT12 flash suppressor, the Greedo blaster. I turned this out on the aluminum. I turned out of aluminum on the metal lathe. A lot of parts, you want to have, like a part like this, you want to have metal tooling marks, you know, because this actual piece was not made out of metal. It was actually the same piece that these were made out of. This was a jug for
Crash.
it was actually jugs for a model engine kit for I think an airplane kit, the radial engine kits, radial engine jugs. That's what this was. So, and it's still got the dowel rod in it for casting. That's how it's cast, like that. Oops. Just like that in a mold. But anyway, and then there's another piece for the same blaster. This is
record player.
These are record player parts. This is actually the cleaning arm, and this piece is supposed to hold some sort of cleaning brush that automatically clean.
Yeah,
I don't know what it all works, but these parts here are also for the DT12. I made them out of aluminum because they originally were out of aluminum, and it actually helps to have those tooling marks in it to really make it more accurate. You know where these little pieces here also show up? If you freeze frame when Luke's getting his robot arm, you will find 4 of these on that apparatus that's holding his arm. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyway, that's what that is. So I tend to use whatever I have available and whatever I have, whatever's the best way of doing it. And obviously this piece out of aluminum works great. This scope, although this is a replica of the Han Solo Greedo Killer scope. And what I like about this scope is it kind of ties a lot of this week or this month together. It has found parts, made parts, and 3D printed parts. And what it has is, as far as found parts go, these 2 scope mounts are found parts. Remember I was talking about the kits or that lot of 12 vintage scope mounts, 1-inch scope mounts I found online. That's them, and this is that's what they ended up going for, because that's what I really needed. The body actually fun is 3D is not 3D printed. It's PVC pipe. It's schedule 40. It's schedule 40 3/4 inch pipe, and it's been tooled down on the wood lathe to be the right diameter. And then this end here was machined out of remember how I did the resin?
Yeah.
The resin bucks. I used to make. I still make them. There's a remnant right there. See by the ammo can?
Oh yeah.
That's actually a remnant from this actual build. Sometimes having
what did Matt do?
Yeah. Sometimes having resin cast in round stock is very, very handy. So I actually have a few pieces of PVC pipe that are they're set aside only for casting resin into round pieces for making parts like this section right here on that scope. This part and the adjustment here are all 3D printed parts. And then the last right here, the rings, the interior right here and on the front are all made on the metal lathe out of aluminum. So I threw together, I mean, basically that's like 3D printed parts, parts made on the wood lathe, parts made on the metal lathe, and then parts made on the 3D printer, and then of course found original parts.
In short, a lot of work goes into it.
Yeah, this is actually, I was very proud of this because this scope was it was a Japanese scope made by a company that was already, I think, out of business when the movie was made. The scope itself is hard to find. It's some sort of Japanese sportsman style scope. It's hard to find. You can't. So they're non-existent is what I'm saying. So
it wasn't made by Holosun?
No. And actually, here you go. Look at, what does it say on the little legs there? Those are little brackets. They're actually kind of held on there by that clay, so be careful.
It mostly says Japan.
It just says Japan, yes. So yeah, it has the actual Japanese style, Weaver style Japanese knockoffs of the Weaver scope mounts. That is that's the actual sought after pieces for this blaster. So I was excited, super excited to get these guys, these scope rings. And then the rest of the pieces are this is a modified single point scope. arrangement, but the Japanese scope had screws here, and then some sort of a pin right there. So I modified this to more represent the scope that it was, and not the single point scope. It doesn't have any of those markings. But yeah, I think it turned out great. And then a ring with some weird file I found. I think it was like like an ender or something like that. The feed.
Okay,
The manual feed attachment you can 3D print. That's what one of those are.
you put that to put on top of your
Yes.
extruder feeder.
Yeah,
so that you can
to
feed it through it,
advance filament or back it out, whatever you need to do. That's what that is. So yeah, I like that. I like those too. Those work great. I have whenever I got spoiled having that kind of stuff, because now I have printers that don't have that stuff on it. I'm like, it's
Do
like,
you remember that? No, I didn't tell you about that fiasco when I printed my little spinny thing out of resin and then promptly dropped it.
and by the way, I'll be right back. Taking a break for just a second. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
I got something to grab.
What are you grabbing?
All right. Is anybody still online watching us?
Oh, by the way, Rodney,
Yes.
how soon are we going to be doing your whatchamacallit, your helmet mold?
I can't do it this weekend, but next weekend I think I can. Maybe.
What?
I don't know. When the hell do we have time to do it? That's the
On
question.
the weekends, if you didn't have your kids.
Okay. Not this weekend, but maybe next weekend we can
Jeff is
start.
here.
All right. So are we close? Is everything ready?
I assume so, unless we've lost all the stuff I've shipped here. Because pretty much the only thing I got to worry about, the easy stuff I can do, like the dump molds, but
Well, yeah, that's the easiest.
yeah.
So here you go. That one's what I wanted to grab.
Why does it smell like Matt?
That's the force pike. The force pike master, and that is turned on the wood lathe. Did extensive research and found that I can't remember what costume, what tour it was that showed off a lot of Star Wars stuff, but I found a detailed photo that also had some reference within the photo that allowed me to scale this item. And this is basically, this was turned on the wood lathe. This is all, all this work here was done on the wood lathe. This part is made out of wood. It's not resin. But it turned out really good. And actually, to tell you the truth, this ended up being the top seller on Etsy before the wheels fell off Etsy. It finally beat out the Bespin DL44. But these are going back. These right now, these are not being made because the mold has worn out. But these will be up and available again soon. As soon as I get the chance. But this turned out really well.
Ooh, when can I get my helmet?
Which one?
The one that I got 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Oh, the Royal Guard helmet. It's been 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, I just have to mess
I
with you.
totally forgot about that. List got removed. And there was a few people on that list that I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, because I was out of town, so I didn't get to go to the con, so there was no point in doing
That's
the
probably what it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Anytime you want, just tell me. Remind me.
Like I'm going to remember.
Remind me, and I will make it. I still get inquiries on getting those done, but that mold is actually getting ready to be redone also because it never performed exactly the way I wanted. It made nice helmets, but it needed, they all needed attention before they went out the door.
Does this mean I have to order more magnets?
No, actually, I have. Well, I have.
Do we have enough magnets?
I ordered 100 magnets.
I think I ordered 100 magnets.
Maybe I have.
That means we have like 1,000 magnets.
Either I ordered 100 10 millimeter magnets,
Or 10 1mm magnets.
or 50 1 millimeter mag. No, I got them. They're 10 millimeter magnets.
I forgot what I got.
Yeah.
I think they were too small, but we'll see.
No, but yeah. Like I said, this is kind of just an assortment of what I've made over the years as far as stuff. As far as what my masters that I have in my masters inventory, this is kind of like a little splash of like this one here. It's a combination of pieces I already had and then a few made pieces. Actually, this is a scope mount that I bought at the gun store. Funny enough, the same day I bought the Ar7 Survival Rifle. This was purchased the same
one
day.
you destroyed by filling full of silicone?
It is not destroyed. It just needs to be cleaned. This, through extensive research, I figured out the size and dimensions of these pieces through the RPF. The RPF was a huge help on this. I looked for the original record player or whatever it was. I think it was a record player. I looked for the original record player, could not find, I couldn't find one. So odds are that it would have been expensive anyway. There's not many around, and the people that are after them will pay.
Like the calculators?
Like the calculators. There's another item. The projectors. Those have started to get hard to find. The projectors from A New Hope, they made the security camera thingies out of.
You know what might be kind of easy to do?
I got two original ones over there.
Well, what might be kind of easy to do is the Sand Trooper backpack.
The Sand Trooper backpack has a radio on it that is also kind of a rare item. Now there's lots of good replica there's casts of original radios, and there's a lot of people who have done a lot of work making replicas, and there's also 3D files available of that same radio pack. So yeah, I've actually got started on a Sand Trooper backpack a while back because I do have a Sandy. And but yeah, I've done a lot of research on that, and I do have some found pieces. I have the Rubbermaid found pieces.
That's what I was talking about.
I have the Rubbermaid found pieces. Did you know those same Rubbermaid lids are also on the seat backs on the Millennium Falcon?
No, I did not know that.
Yes, they are. They are on the rear two seats. In the center, there's like a padded area, a blank area, and then padded goes up and over the head. They're right there in the middle. And they're just 70s era Tupperware. Oh, and by the way, you should have told me Jeff was on.
Oh, Jeff's on.
Thank you. Jeff's
Hi,
here.
Jeff.
So anyway, anybody have any questions? We kind of blew through things a lot quicker than we normally would because we were on so late.
Yeah, we had some technical issues.
Difficulties which we greatly appreciate. Our director Hayden, who I left, doing great work fixing that for us, getting us back on. So yeah, I have not much else to add. I was actually I was thinking about next month. Ideas on what I would like to do next month, because I actually kind of like this discussion. doing the just going over where and how I acquire masters and
Well,
stuff like
I got
that.
an idea. Since you brought it up, we could film doing the Bosch helmet, and then you could do a picture-in-picture and explain. what's going
Yeah,
on.
and actually, Hayden and I were actually talking about doing something similar to that on the next Mandalorian helmet or the next helmet that gets cast. Oh, you know what was one? Dan was over a couple weeks ago, and he dropped off a broken blaster.
So blaster repair other than when Matt breaks it?
You would.
I'm broken, Jeff.
You would
Look at my finger. I cut the top off.
You
of
would
it.
think having IT in the building would help issues, but it tends to compound the issue.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand. It's almost too much knowledge in the room to fix a simple problem.
I made one comment, and then everything went to hell.
So yes, he did. And it's almost like if anyone's ever seen, was it Sling Blade? When everybody's trying to figure out how to get the snowblower running, and and then what's his name walks over and checks the gas tank. Everybody else has been working on it forever and cranking that thing trying to get to start, and the one guy, the idiot in the room, walks over and says it ain't got no gas in it.
This was my IAO experience with my first electronic gun, where it stopped firing, so I took the damn thing apart only to find out that I was out of ammunition. Great.
By the way, Rodney's area has been somewhat reorganized and cleaned up.
We're going to take bets on how long that lasts.
I'm not taking any bets. It's going to last. There's also a few small changes in the shop. It's wherever you go. It's not tax.
New York still exists, and I just came back from New York.
The surprisingly enough, the subways are not flooded yet. Maybe you should have gone in. Well, it is kind of.
However, they did call me right after I got off the plane to ask if I was still in New York to help with another issue because they were dumb. But
but anyway, this is pretty much kind of the way it goes. Originals, if I can find an original item such as a gun, a blast, a pistol, a part, a scope mount, I'll find it. First things first is always try to find the originals. Second is higher end replicas, stuff that's easier for me to just buy than to try to reproduce, because it'll be much better than what I can do by hand anyway. And then also in that same realm is copies of original parts. That's another place I'll find things that for my masters. And then the last place is to just go ahead and make it myself. And that's what everything on this pretty much is. All made, there is some help from 3D printing. But if you notice, there is only resin 3D printed parts here and not filament printed parts.
Yep, and that's from your old printer too, isn't it?
My filament, my resin printer?
Yeah.
Well, the one you got me, yes.
We have better technology now.
I have back only because of this guy. I would probably at this point in time would have bought one by now. But since I have one and I haven't outgrown it because I haven't tried to make anything as big as what you've tried to make. Your printer is much bigger than the one I have now. Mine will do about like that big.
Yeah.
Yours will do almost that big.
Oh yeah, Jeff
has the same printer, doesn't he?
Jeff says that you can't destroy something that's already dead. I would like to point out zombies and vampires are already dead. And we can destroy those.
That's a good thing.
That's good thinking.
And if you don't believe in zombies or vampires, please watch CNN.
That's pretty much everyone that works there, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That and everybody who's politically there.
Do
you think Dan is a vampire?
Dan?
Yeah.
No.
Because I've only seen him at night, and he is a politician.
No, we were actually having a daywalker discussion. Hayden and I were.
He gave me alcohol before I was legally allowed to drink it.
Dan.
Technically, so did I.
Yeah, but you're not a public figure.
No, it was like the same within the same 24-hour period of you turning 21. He's like, "Oh, geez, really?" I was like, "Dude, he turns 21."
I already drank a lot before then.
Well, it's okay. Is it a big deal?
No, it's not.
Are you gonna hide it from me?
No.
You take a beer, but I'll take your soup.
I was thinking of a beer parody of the Trooper.
The joke is the first beer that he had was the Trooper beer.
His first beer was Trooper beer.
I didn't really care for it.
We actually, Hayden, go up and grab it. We saved.
A dusty, gross one?
No, that's the actual can. Here you go.
I'll have to dust off the cover.
I actually saved the can, his first beer. There it is, right there. Trooper beer.
The official drink of Iron Maiden.
That's the actual can. What was the other one? You got Space Station. What was it?
Oh, that was the day I was wandering around trying to find Trooper beer and found something else that reminded me of Barry.
But it was a space station in the shape of a middle finger. What was it
Yeah.
called?
Random crap Rodney found.
Yeah, random crap Rodney found. Anyway, yes, Trooper beer, Bill. That was my son's very first beer.
I don't even remember how old I was.
He's due to we're not going to disclose how old.
But it did involve me running around the tri-state area.
Only to be pointed out
No,
that you just can't
see,
go down
The street.
See, this guy was never sent on a mission. He decided on his own to show up with Trooper beer and whatever that space station beer was on his own. And then when he was here and told us the adventure he went on to get this beer,
And it was late.
yeah, he was very late. Yes, we had to explain to him that he could have just got it just a couple miles down the road from here. he literally drove 25,
halfway around the
25, 30
city,
miles
yeah.
out of his way. He ended up going the longer way around 275 loop to stop at Eat, which is literally what 25 minutes from here. Just to get Trooper beer when it's actually 15 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
Round trip.
Well, that's because I used the Find a Beer app, which sends you to the
You know what you do?
furthest point.
You use the Find a Beer app from the location you're going to be at, not the location you're at.
You'd figure they'd have something in Loveland.
They didn't know where the hell you were going.
I don't know where the hell I'm going.
That's the problem. They don't know where his final destination would be.
And yes, Bill, Trooper beer is made by Iron Maiden.
Yes.
Sort of.
Made with the sweat of Iron Maiden.
Made of the sweat of Bruce Dickinson.
Yes, he didn't know there was a Jungle Gyms right up here. Literally, Rodney, when he comes here, he parks downhill. So if he drove straight, go to the end of the road, turn left, he would only have to make one more turn to get to Jungle Gyms.
Which I discovered later because my friend had his birthday party at Jungle Gyms. Explain that one.
It's go down to the end of the street, turn left. Drive down to Jungle Gyms, turn right. To come back, you turn left, come back up here, turn right, pull in my driveway, back out of my driveway, park on the road facing the right direction, and you're done. Very good, yes.
Exceptional work.
I'm extra.
Extra special. Oh, by the way, you were at the bottom. You were at the bottom of the hill from Matt's house when you're at Jungle Gyms right over here. And Matt can get here in 4.5 minutes.
It's because he drives Battlestar Galactica.
That's beside the point. He still has traffic lights. Matter of fact, when our White Castles,
Nothing can stop Battlestar Galactica.
our White Castles was shut down due to the pandemic and never totally has recovered. So we actually have to go to the White Castles if when we get the late night cravings. That happens.
Now, you're talking about the one that always has the guy with all the tattoos on his face?
No, this one has a really sweet lady that's working at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
She's very nice, very sweet, and she shouldn't have to be there, but she is there. And she gives us extra ranch and honey mustard. But
This is like when my daughter figured out that if she had me order stuff from the sweet old lady, we would always get extra stuff because apparently I'm cute to old women, according to her.
It's just a motherly thing is what it is. Some of my best ever memories of my early days out as a auto body, working in a body shop, my first real body shop job, going out to lunch with the old, jagged, alcoholic body men. And funny enough, those guys are all probably about the age I am now. And we'd all go to lunch at this little shithole bar called Archie's. But there's a sweet little lady in the back, and she made the best food. And strangely enough, this is kind of crazy. This is back in the 90s. Tuesdays was chicken and dumplings at that bar, right? And for like $4, you could get a plate with so much food. Even me at 19, I didn't want to go back to work. I was just, oh my gosh, I'm dead. So every Tuesday, there would be this lady come in. She would come in, she'd go straight back to the kitchen, and then she would walk back out. And one day, I just, I'd seen her all summer long, and I was like, so what's up with this thing? I was like, oh, well, I'm not supposed to say, or not really, I don't talk about it, but that's Marge Schott's personal assistant. And every Tuesday, Marge Schott got chicken and dumplings from Archie's bar in Blue Ash, the biggest hole in the wall, bullet holes in the ceiling, dive bar. First time I ever gambled, I bet on horses in that bar. I actually had the bookie sat down. He was down at the other end of we were at a table, and the place was as big as this basement. We were at the back door, the front door is right to our back. I would go around the corner to the bar. There was a payphone back there. Yes, payphone.
I remember PayPal.
All the horse bets were made from that payphone by the guy sitting at the corner of the bar. And you just go up there, and I would just drop $2 on the thing, just like all the other guys are doing, drop $2 on a race. I would drop $2 on a race. Never won a race, but I did. Yeah, it's good old days. Oh, and it's also the first place and the only place I've ever ran a weekly tab. We would eat all day, all through the week, and on Friday we'd have to settle up our lunch bill. And one of the guys I worked with, he just had a plate in front of him with a Budweiser sitting on it, and his lunch was Budweiser.
It was the 90s.
And like I said, those guys were pretty much at that time about my age. And in this city, if you're in my business, we all kind of know each other, or at least we're separated by one person who knows, you know what I'm saying? So I've been able over the years to keep track of all the guys I worked with at that shop back in the day. And besides the manager, I am the only one that's still around. All the rest of them are gone. They've all passed away. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great ending to that
Well, what I'm saying is, those older body men, those older guys, they were a different breed. They were all hard livers. Even then, I still look back. I look back now and I'm thinking, those guys were rough. Most of them didn't have all their fingers. Most of them had, horrible, horrible life tales to tell.
Well, yeah, to a certain age, you do have
Horrible life tales.
Yeah. I remember going down after I got my first Harley. I had a dent in the gas tank. And if anybody ever knows, if everybody ever tries to fix a dent in the gas tank, that's not the easiest thing in the world because you only have access to the gas. So I knew of a tool, and I only knew one person that had this particular tool. It's called a Unispot. This is, like I said, back in the 90s. Today, you can go to Harbor Freight and buy this particular tool for like $70. But back in the day, it was the new technology, and it was called a Unispot, and it just welded studs, and you use that studs to pull a dent out. And I went to that shop. This is a strange thing. I went to that shop to Carl, one of my lunch buddies, and said, hey, here's this Harley tank. It's for my Harley, and it's got dents, and it's got a dent. And I want, Carl, help me, And Carl said, hey, I'm going a couple days this week, in a couple days I'm going in for surgery. It's not a big deal or anything like that. And he started talking about the surgery and everything. He died on the fucking operating table. Literally 2 days after, it's just I hadn't seen him in a couple years, and I knew he had that tool, and I went and saw him, and I guess it's kind of cool I got to see him. But yeah, those guys, none of them are down. Everybody from that shop in 1993 are all gone except for one guy. The only reason I know that one guy's still around is because he's a friend of the family. And the guy that got me the job and got me into that business. So any questions out there about props? I know we got super... see, if you haven't noticed, in the how long's it been since Joe's been gone? 8 months now? 9 months? In the time that Joe has been gone, we have a new director. Director is Hayden. There's his foot. He operates in a different way. When I go off on a tangent, Matt goes off on a tangent. Don't worry about Rodney. Rodney's not going off on very many tangents, but when Rodney does go off on a tangent, it is always very special. We always call that Rodney special. He doesn't care if we stick to topics. Oh, by the way, what did we discuss before we started?
Which time?
A breakthrough for you. Ordering what you need, not trying
yeah. So this is a first, right?
This is a first.
Instead of me purchasing 50 billion parts to make something that will be like a Rube Goldberg contraption that will accomplish the feat.
I think it's better to explain you have an inventory of what you're familiar with. Is that fair enough to say?
That is true.
So he takes his available inventory in his brain about what's available. And it might need a 12-volt power supply, and it might need this, or it might need that. But he'll buy $200 worth of stuff to accomplish
a $10 job.
A $10 job if he had just searched for what he needs. And today was a major breakthrough because he actually didn't look for what he knew was available. He actually looked for what he needed. And it was an amazing experience. I was actually a little bit proud of him. I was actually very proud of him because
I saved $90 on this whole fiasco.
Because, dude, you should have seen it when he came down to the shop with a disco ball. The disco ball's over here. It's not a disco ball, but it's a party light or whatever.
Okay, that still has a use. We hook it up. Okay.
I know, but he came with a power inverter.
Well, yeah, until I did the math on how much the batteries would weigh for the backpack, and then it was like, I'm not carrying around 30 pounds of battery.
Okay, this is what happens. He found the light, and I know what he was planning to do with it. But anyway, he found the light. And it was a 120. It was a 120 plug in the wall light. Although this is not a powerful unit. you can actually find something that does the same thing on 12 volts. But instead of trying to find the same thing on 12 volts, he buys a $200, well, probably about $100.
I think it was like $20.
That's not a $20 power inverter.
That was a $20 power inverter.
That is not a $20. Okay. So he bought a $45 power inverter.
All right, we'll split the difference.
But then he needed to find the batteries to power the power inverter.
Well, then I had to do math to figure out how many batteries I needed.
So the rig was going to weigh 175
yeah,
pounds.
it was going to be insane.
When the whole thing could have been accomplished by just punching in starting with a 12-volt light, and then could have gone from there, and the whole rig could have weighed 8 pounds.
Anyway, tune in next week when Chuck yells at clouds.
So, what are we doing next week? One, you're going to be sitting over there. Matt will be back. And we will be playing Family Feud for this guy right here. And you will have the option of putting a custom paint job on this in the style of the Mandalorian. So it's still going to be chip paint. Well, you know what? We'll negotiate that. But the idea is to build a weathered version in a paint job that matches maybe a costume you already have. You know what? This blaster may not even have to stay in the Star Wars universe. It could go abroad if we wanted it to. You know what I'm saying?
Like Halo?
Actually, it almost looks like it fits in the Halo universe.
Like Renaissance Fair?
No, it's not gonna run fair. It's not gonna run fair at all. Let's just put a stop to that now.
Let me tell you about way back in the day, the arms race at the Ren Fair, because we thought it was funny.
The arms race at the Ren Fair. Did you stop by the Viking booth?
No. See, it was the pirates, and I was one of the pirates, and basically it started out with somebody brought a little flintlock pistol, and that turned into a cap gun, and then eventually somebody was running around with the toy AK-47, so that got vetoed.
So did you guys totally bypass the blunderbuss?
You never really bypass anything. You just go, wait, I have a better idea than Bob.
Did you know they actually had a blunderbuss style highway gun? You ever seen those? And they also, what was cool about those was you flip a switch and out flips a blade from underneath.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was a coachman's gun or a highway gun is what they called it. Yeah. But anyway, next week, Matt will be back. Rodney will be in reserve he'll be benched.
Away from you.
Hayden will still be behind master control, and I will still be sitting in the left seat, which is the driver's seat, which I don't understand why I'm sitting in the driver's seat. But anyway, we will be playing Family Feud for the Mandalorian Holdout Blaster. You can get it raw, without paint, with the Mandalorian paint job, or with a custom paint job. And then we're going to figure out a new topic for next month. Like I said, this month's topic was this month's topic was my masters, the masters for all my my mold masters, the masters for all my props. Next month we'll be getting into something new. We'll probably figure that out this week and announce it next week, right after we're done playing the games.
That's fantastic.
We've been thinking about throwing a bunch of crap on that thing. Yes, it's been mocked up a couple times. So until next week, Family Feud next week. So don't worry about topics. You don't have to watch no indoor movies or holiday specials or anything like that. It'll just be straight up.
Why do I keep getting looked at when you mention something horrible? Like
I want you to. I want another movie night, and we're gonna collaborate on what that's going to be. Not for maybe for next month. We don't know.
I was thinking we could do a Halloween thing. That'd be fun.
Halloween's a little ways away.
Yes, but it gives us time to plan and really annoy Matt.
It does give us. Oh, no, we're not even going to talk about that. I think we ought to have. Wait a minute. We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary soon, aren't we?
Yeah.
How long has COVID happened? Because this started in COVID.
Worse than a little bit.
Oh, shoot. All right. Anyway. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Tune in next week. We will be giving away the Mandalorian Blaster Family Feud 10 questions. Matt will be back. Hayden will be here. Rodney will be on the sidelines. And until then, good night.
Live from the apocalypse.
Bye-bye.
Oh, why am I always